Hello there once again. My name is Eunice Njeri. This is Hustle's Zetu. Today we shall discuss opportunities in agribusiness. Are you a youth out there with a piece of land somewhere, maybe even your parents' piece of land, and are looking for a job, but in the meantime you could be engaging in an economic activity from right where you are, right at the farm. So we want to talk to a guest who has a background in agribusiness, and he works for a company, an international company, and I will allow him to introduce himself so that we get to learn more from him and his background. Karibu sana.
Asante sana. Yes.
Tuambie jina yako na unafanya kazi wapi, your education background.
Okay. My name is Samson Kiiru, Gugi, and I'm a resident of Nakuru County.
Okay.
And I work with an organization called Slow Food Kenya, whose mother organization is Slow Food International, that is situated in Italy, in a small village called Bra. Yeah, and I happen to be in that small city called Bra, and that's where I did my undergraduate in a university called University of Gastronomic Sciences.
Okay.
And I graduated as a gastronome.
Who is a gastronome? What does that do?
That's a good question, Eunice. And a gastronome is that one person who has knowledge and skills on issues to do with agricultural and food sector.
Okay.
And this particular person is capable of driving food production, food distribution, and also food consumption. Generally, a gastronome, the area of study is called gastronomy. And many people think that gastronomy is all about, those people who goes to the moon and back. They confuse with astronauts. But gastronomy revolves around agriculture, food, and traditions.
And traditions?
Yes.
Agriculture, food, and traditions. Okay.
Yes, and that's what I studied. And immediately after my graduation, I joined the organization called Slow Food Kenya.
Right in Italy? Or?
Right in Italy.
Okay.
That's where I did my proper internship. And immediately after 6 months of internship, I was sent back in the country to come and work with communities, especially on those issues to do with food, agriculture, and culture.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, gastronomy, is it something that you knew you wanted to pursue, or did you get to Italy and you began pursuing a course in gastronomy?
It's a very nice question, and actually it started by I had passion for food, had passion for food production.
Okay.
It's because the first course I got from my parents was all about food production. This is what we produced food for consumption and also for sales, so that we could get money for other kinds of food that we could not produce in the garden, as well as for clothing, as well as for school fees.
Okay,
so I knew this is the base of everything. And
so you grew up knowing that your livelihood, your parents' livelihood was mainly agriculture.
Exactly.
Okay.
It revolved around that.
Okay.
And we knew food was everything for us. It was food for eating. It was food for
school fees,
for clothing, for everything. So I took this as a very important aspect of my life. And again, with this, I did agriculture in high school, and this actually gave me more knowledge on it.
Okay.
And it was this again that one of my friends happened to fly to Italy to study this course. And I was like, can someone fly to just study about food? Then I was like, wait a minute, let me look into these things, let me research and see what they study in this school, and to see what made this guy to fly.
Wow.
And with that, I came to realize people really could, food is a very big,
it is a very
big topic.
Yeah, it's very true.
And you have to learn about food politics, you have food economics, you have food chemistry, you have molecular sciences.
Wow.
And then again, you have food laws.
Food politics and food laws. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, they are all there. Food actually is at the center of everything. And in fact, we talk about politics here in Kenya, but the biggest thing that, where politics revolve around
is food. tutapunguza bei ya mahindi, tutapunguza bei ya unga. Now that is the food politics.
That's the food politics.
Wow, wow. Now that is nice. So what are the most promising agri-business opportunities that we have currently in Kenya today?
I would like to say that the most lucrative kind of a business that we are talking here today, one is organic agriculture, because that's the field where I'm in. And food agriculture, you know, is all about producing food without using agrochemicals that are bought from the agrovet shops. And this shows that if you have ways in which you can make your own fertilizers, you can make your own pesticides, you can actually store and even bank your own seeds. You know, that is, after harvesting, you store your own seeds that you're going to use
for the next season. Okay.
So if you do that, you will have used less money in production. And then again, you know, whenever you have issues to do with the pest, you know what to do. When you need to actually add maybe foliar to the crops, you know how to go about it. So with this knowledge, you are able to use less money, and that means less or low cost of production. And once you have to sell this produce, you have to sell it at a little bit higher price.
Now that is the organic food.
The organic food.
Okay.
Because you know, as much as you're saving, as much as you're not using a lot of money, you work.
You work.
Yeah, and that's why we are there. And that's why we need a lot of young people in this field, because they are energetic and they can work. They produce good. For us, we call it good, clean, and fair food.
Good, clean,
and fair food.
And fair food.
Yeah, good for, you know, you've produced food that is in season, and you know food that is in season is very tasty. It can satisfy your senses. It's all we need. Once you eat it, you feel you've eaten. It gives you what we call pleasure of eating.
The pleasure of eating.
Leo ndasoma kuhusu chakula sana. Yes, and clean this because we talk about we use environmental friendly kind of inputs that are not going to interfere with our bees, that are not going to interfere with other beneficial pests. I mean the insects that are actually very important for food production. And fair, because we talk about fairness. Now when you have produced, then you have also a mandate to say, this is the price, this is what I'm going to sell my produce, my production at. It's not always utaninunulia ngapi. No, it's, are you going to buy my produce from this? From this cost.
But how can I, as a consumer in the market, be able to choose this is organic and this is not organically produced? How can I tell? Kama ni viazi?
It's quite difficult. I know that. But again, we always say that, for example, in the market, I always say that there are many things that today people they are calling sweetable. Suitable means those nyanyas or the vegetables that look very nice, very shiny, very attractive.
Sweet in terms of tamu.
I mean suitable in terms of it looks nice. You know, it looks eatable as well because it is shiny.
Inakuinvite nyanya red mzuri sana.
Red. And I always say that I always call that a red flag. This because if the pest did not eat these leaves from these vegetables, then why should you eat that? It's because we always say that we are sharing these vegetables. We share this food with,
with the pests.
Yes, what we do, we reduce these pests, or we even repel them. But every time when we kill them, when you spray, you don't spray the pest, you spray the plant. And what happens? The pest might die because of eating that, or might die as a result of being sprayed. So if we eat foods that are not attacked by pests, then you should ask yourself a question. I would remind you something. Sometimes back in Uganda, Ugandans sell meat outside. They hang it. Here we are used to wakati tunavuna mahindi na maharagwe, huwa tuna hang bags huko nje wakati tunapima kilo, and then after weighing, then it is stored. In Uganda, they put the meat outside there.
Meat.
Nyama. And what happens?
Kwa barabara.
Not really kwa barabara, but outside the shop.
Okay.
Yeah. And what happened was that people were using some of the I don't know what some of the ingredients or some of the preservative to make this meat grow. I mean, stay for long. And these things were not very good for they were not actually healthy for. They were actually they were bad for health. And what actually happened is that INZI hakuwa enda pale. And when people realize that INZI hawakaribii hii nyama, they realize there's something wrong with this meat. So INZI after that was like the new KEBS. Yeah?
In Uganda.
As far as this meat was concerned. So this tells you when you don't see certain things that are known to be normal ways of, having these vegetables the way they have been looking like, then you should ask yourself a question. This because we talk about eating food that is good for you for human consumption. So if no pest has eaten the leaves, then
there's a problem.
There is a problem. It's not fit for your consumption.
And I think we are getting a lot of those foods that are not actually fit. Lately, I've been buying eggs from a place where I buy my eggs.
Yes.
And nikikoroga mayai, unaona there's some residue inabaki kwa kijiko. And I was actually telling my daughters yesterday, I think we need to stop buying these eggs because I think the last 4 times I've bought eggs from that particular place, of course they look very big, which is now an attraction for me as a consumer. But when I koroga the mayai, no, there's something. The yolk is something back is on the spoon. Now, any other opportunity in agribusiness today?
Yes. And I would like to talk about, when we're talking about young people, young people are people that are known not to be very patient.
Young people, not patient. Are they patient but not very patient?
They are not patient. They want to plant today and harvest tomorrow and eat the same day.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. There is this, it's a sort of a project that we call black soldier flies. Many people call it, in short form, they call it BSF. And these are sort of flies that produced in a very small space. You don't require a big space. And these black soldier flies, they are known to multiply quickly.
Black soldier
flies. They are known to multiply very quickly. And you can increase the number of these black soldier flies within a very short time. And what do? Many people, livestock feeds are really expensive today. And one reason that makes it to be more expensive, it's because of they use soya and they also use fish to add proteins to these feeds. And they're expensive. And the cheapest way to add proteins to these feeds is making use of these black soldier flies. You cannot only use black soldier flies to just to make the feeds, but also you can sell the larvae, you can sell the eggs, you can sell the flies. And in fact, you were saying that you can these black soldier flies, they are not expensive to actually start. And in
you're talking
level,
of kukuza.
Yeah, INZI.
INZI.
Yes.
Hey, I think I need to see you in your
That's one.
kidogo.
And you just require a very small space. You were saying that you require just 60,000
to start.
That one you will have a polythene, you will have a wire mesh, you'll have the basins, and they consume the kitchen remains. So kitchen wastes, they make use of that. And at the end of it all, you can sell the eggs, you can sell the larvae, you can sell the, you can actually make the feed and mix it and you sell it. So, and it takes, once you buy the larvae, let's talk about 2 weeks. 2 weeks,
they're mature. The INZI mature in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Wow, interesting.
So that's one thing that young people can try to venture in because this is an area of livestock keeping. and they can make use of that and try maybe to sell. We don't have ng'ombe up in the city. We have them in the countryside, and this will actually lower the rural-urban migration, whereby young people are running to urban centers to seek for employment. And
so where does one get that thing that you need to start kuzaing? Do you buy the INZI itself?
You buy the eggs
for
for them to hatch,
or
you can buy the larvae, because once you buy the larvae, you need 2 weeks and then you have fully grown INZI.
Tunanirudisha mbali kwa agriculture.
People are making money out of this. Maybe I can also say that we have some young people in Pwani area, in Joro, that are actually doing that, and they are making good money. Yes.
Wow.
And you see 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, 2 months.
So from the investment capital of, let's say, like 60,000, how much is my expected return on investment?
You can even talk about getting some return after 2 months, because it multiplies very fast, and they lay 300 to 500 eggs in 3 months. Yes, so after the 3 months, you can actually start rearing that. So you can imagine. I think now it's 3 weeks, because from the larvae to the fully grown INZI, then you'll be in money. Because again,
how much? I want to know the figure.
You're not only selling the fly. You're selling
the whole.
The whole. Yeah.
Wow! That's interesting. So how can one now be able to contribute reliably to the distribution of food, and especially maybe in restaurants today, because many restaurants are looking for reliable sources of, mahali pa kupata waru and stuff like that.
Yeah, and of course good food.
And good food, exactly.
For us, what I can say is that I think the restaurants, they should support the local farmers, because these are the local farmers that produce. They can also be contracting each other that produce for me this.
Oh yeah. Like you already know where your produce actually is heading to after production, after the harvesting. Sorry.
Yeah, and again, once you do this, you'll be in a position to, you'll be knowing where the produce, the food that your clients are eating, you know where this food comes from. You know even how it is produced. You can even share this information with the clients. That, do you know this food, I buy it, or we get it from, we promote farmers. We promote farmers, and they grow this food like this, and that's why maybe you find it tasting different from other restaurants. And I believe that once we do this, we'll be in a position to promote one of our own. We talk about buy Kenya, build Kenya.
Equally.
True.
True.
And I therefore think that that's one way to make sure that at least farmers are gaining, the restaurants have got good food, and you have, I can talk about maybe good flow of customers every time, because many people want to know where the food they're eating
is coming from. Okay.
Yes, because of the problems that we have as far as the lifestyle diseases are concerned.
Very true. Now, on food politics, because you actually mentioned that, tell us about the politics of food today. Bei ya unga haishuki, na fertilizer nazo, we want to understand. I'm sure you have some knowledge on what's really going on.
Yeah. Generally, the food politics starts from the seed.
From the seed?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Because, we will say that he who controls seed controls my stomach.
The one with the seed controls our stomach.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is because you eat what I command you to
eat,
grow.
to grow.
Yes. This is because, farmers are always going to the agrovet shop to buy what has been produced for us. And yet, many years ago, or even today, we have people who are still producing the indigenous foods. And how did they used to do this? They used to produce, they used to take care of the field in a traditional way. They used to harvest. And what they do with the seeds?
They would store that.
They would store that. They could put it in the, kwa jikoni pale. Inawekwa hapo inashikwa na.
I remember Shosho's place. I would see mahindi, mahali.
during the next season, they never lacked seeds. And in case maybe they failed, we used to have some people who can actually, people used to share. You know, or even if you have a better yielding kind of a seed, they could share with each other, and food used to be there. Yeah,
but I think maybe also we cannot really. Is it really possible to get back to that kind of a system?
People are doing that
in communities?
Yes,
and I know we've sat down before, and you were telling me about some work you were doing in. Was it the Mau?
Yes, Mau Forest, and we work with farmers from around there, and we work with farmers who have who store their own seeds. This is because the seeds we talk about, hybrids, for example, today you only grow them one time because they feed you one generation. So if you grow this year, this is an agriculture lesson. Then the next season, once you plant it, then you are not going to yield anything good. Yes, so you can imagine, you know, when we are talking about
really seeds, in large quantities, that would be very expensive. And especially with the population that we have today, producing food like indigenous foods and food organically, that would be a very expensive venture.
It is not.
It is not.
It is because we talk about using locally available resources. People are able to make good money from it rather than the conventional one.
But why are we not encouraged to do this by the government, or the seed owner controls the?
I would say that the government, I think it doesn't have a big problem with the seed selling, because they talk about you know, protecting indigenous food and also maybe the traditional way of growing food. But on the other hand, when you look at the seed laws, they criminalize
the seed laws,
the exchanging, selling
of seed,
and selling, exchanging, and what? It's actually, it criminalizes that.
So I cannot give you my seed if I have seed stored in it. I cannot share.
You cannot sell.
So that is now where it becomes very difficult.
Yes. Because and from what happens is that you know, governments are also controlled by the these seed companies. They have a lot of money. Again, you know, we have Kenya Seed.
Now I see. You see when you talk of the politics, now it becomes very clear. There are people. They're the big boys, the big farmer that are in control of that.
Yes. Yes, and this does not only happen here in Kenya. We have also controls from you know, from the international level. Because we have these big boys called Monsanto, we have big boys like Bayer, we have these big companies that produce seeds, they produce chemicals, they produce everything surrounding that. Because you plant these, then you have a problem with this, you have dawa for it.
Wow, interesting.
So there is a lot of politics in food, and you know, again, when you also venture into good food, organic agriculture, and telling people to eat food that is not sprayed with these chemicals, and majority of which I would like to say that there are a lot of chemicals. Banned in Europe, but they are still being.
Interesting.
They are still being used.
Sold here. Chemicals sold, banned in Europe, but they're being used. So, Samson, you were talking about that we have chemicals that have been banned in Europe and they are being used here. How is that, and what can be done to be able to stop that?
I think it's just, you know, we have quite a good number of them. And, you know, when something is banned outside and we're using it here, that tells you there is something wrong.
Cartels,
and
true.
Then on the other hand, I would like to mention that, you know, we grow a lot of food for exports. And what happens? The Europeans, they don't want you to use that.
Also, they tell you do not use these chemicals.
They want organically produced food.
Oh my goodness! So we consume the chemicals while they're asking for organically produced food. Yani India siasa ya chakula.
And if they have to allow, they allow up to very little margin.
Oh my
and if
goodness.
it exceeds that, then this is tunachwa tukule. That's why you find a lot of horticultural products left in Kenya. once they undergo the testing. So that tells you. You will find some of these food products left at the airport.
At the airport.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, this is interesting. Now, also, we also see a lot of imports, like apples from we hear South Africa, berries, and maybe fish, even fish coming from China. How safe are these goods? Because if I would imagine if we are allowing as a country to export or to use chemicals that have been banned, how are the control and balances pale mahali zinaingilia hizi zingine? How is that like, and how can we even substitute these imports that we get?
And I think you know Kenya. Kenya.
And I see the food politics.
That at the border, there's a lot of things that happens. So that tells you whatever comes from there coming to Kenya, they have easy time.
They have a very easy time.
We have a very difficult time to export.
We have a difficult time to export, but it's very easy to bring in something here because of the systems, like kitu kidogo.
And a question that I always ask people to think about is about, you find these produce once we import them. Most of the time we find them, we find that they are expensive. I mean, they are cheaper than our local produce. And then you ask yourself, why? No. And that's how sometimes we kill our local production because the farmers cannot match the competition posed by these produce from there. What we always say is that all these things can be grown here. We have fish here. We have fish at Lake Basha, we have fish at Lake Victoria, we have fish.
But is it enough for the consumption of?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. And we always say that we have more than enough, but it's never enough for one person to eat. So I think it's all about...
Oh, it is the greed that brings makes somebody want to say we are going to import fish from China. That has never really actually...
And why from China and not from our fellow...
country, neighbors, Uganda, Tanzania.
Yes. Why don't we promote one of
Burundi,
our own,
exactly.
Other than getting this from, but there are check and balances, Kenya has to do this, China has to do that. So it's always
the politics of food. Now it is very, very clearly explained.
Yes.
I'm sure you've had exhibitions and workshops that you've held, maybe countrywide. Yes. What do you think the youth of today think about generally agribusiness? Do they want to go back to the farms and farm? Emma, what's the attitude about agribusiness, and especially with the youth and with the current rate of unemployment in Kenya?
Yes, I think just like I mentioned earlier, is that the youth want something quick. Taking time, preparing the land, taking time, planting and working in the farm, waiting for the produce to be ready is a hell of a big time for them.
It is so true.
And therefore, we always, and that's why youth are actually migrating from the rural area, going to towns.
Yeah.
The young people are actually filling these urban centers and in search of employment that is not there.
Which is not there.
It is not even there.
Very true.
So we call upon young people to actually make use of what is
they have
at the countryside,
countryside,
exactly.
Yeah.
And try actually to do something, be it production, even if maybe they might not be in a position, maybe a penny kulima, but they can go a mile further and at least maybe come up with ideas revolving around value addition. Maybe you have potatoes, and
you can package them into
them. They can do potato chips and sell them to people.
Hotels.
Yes, they can try. We always say that during the rainy season, kama sahi, we have a lot of vegetables.
Yeah, true.
But at this moment, maybe before people harvest, they don't have ugali. They have a lot of vegetables. They don't have ugali. When we harvest,
I think this nation,
we have a lot of. We harvest maize during the dry months.
Yeah.
So we have maize, we have unga, we have ugali. We don't have vegetables. So these youth, they can actually try to tap that potential in terms of. During the time of planting, they can harvest. Most of them, they look like weeds. They can harvest them. dry them. Of course, not directly to the sun because of the UV rays. They package them, and this is what that can be used when we have ugali and we don't have vegetables.
I think the challenge or the disconnect here is, do they even know that it is possible to dry vegetables?
That's the gap.
And the costs.
That's the gap.
Is the information availed to them?
That's the biggest problem that is there, and that's why we are here.
Wow, interesting. So the actually ways that the youth in the rural areas or even youth in urban centers can be able to utilize their parents' piece of land back there, ensure that they're actually making money. I have a friend of mine who lives in a posh neighborhood in Nairobi, and the other day he was telling me that, Eunice, I want to go back into farming. There's one thing that COVID taught him, that no matter what comes in the future, whether another pandemic comes, as long as the human race is in existence, there will always be need for food. So imagine somebody leaving the comfort of a very posh neighborhood in Nairobi to go back into the farm. That tells you a lot of it.
And we say that we need that farmer 3 times a day.
We need that farmer 3 times a day. Because we have to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
And even more.
Interesting.
Yes. So that we need that farmer more than the doctor.
Wow.
And that's why food is a key thing. It's at the integral part of everything.
Of a nation, of a people, of a human race. Now, I think we have so many questions. We shall cover them in the future. Now, kindly look at your camera and give your closing remarks, and with an emphasis on the youth and agribusiness opportunities today. Yes.
Thank you very much. I would like to call upon all young people, wherever you are. One thing I would like to tell you is that, especially maybe those who are in school, don't study right now to be employed. If you be employed, well and good. If you won't, right now try to think about that problem that you see at the countryside, at the urban centers, and try to see how you can solve that. That could be your employment tomorrow. On the other hand, we are told that the time for youth or leadership for youth is tomorrow. I'd like to say that it is today.
Exactly.
And the other thing I'd like to add is that don't wait to be given opportunities. Grab them and run away with them. Because right now, opportunities are not given. You can see many old people are still in the government.
They are they're still
very old
in the
one,
government. They're not retiring.
They are not
actually.
retiring. So don't wait for these opportunities. Once you get it, grab it and run away with it.
Wow. That is one exciting conversation that we've had. We've not even covered the questions that had been said for him, but I'm sure we will be talking about this because we want to create or bring information that people can be able to actually take up and create employment, because as we've said, there are very scarce jobs here. If you must get a job, either the salary is too low or it's not even enough, and so you may be actually forced to supplement your income by taking a hustle or a side hustle somewhere. So if you're a youth today, do you know that I have heard from our Agri expert here that you can actually kuza INZI? Unaona hizo INZI that we all do not even like seeing. You can actually be able to produce this and sell them and make money. So there are very many opportunities in agribusiness today. Look for places where you can get information such as this. Samson Kiiru, you've not given your number, kindly.
My number is 0719 100 913. I can repeat that. 0719 100 913. You can reach me through using that number, and I'll be of help to you.
Wow. So if you'd want to know more, you've heard the number. If you also would like to know about many other opportunities, you can reach to us through our Hustles Zetu number. It is on the platform. And Slow Food Kenya and Samson would be able to teach you a thing or two about agribusiness today. So we hope that you have learned something as a youth today. If you would want to discover more opportunities on how you can be able to create a side hustle through the agribusiness sector, it is possible for you to do that. So thank you very much. My name is Eunice Njeri. This is Hustles Zetu. And remember to let your light shine in the marketplace. Bye-bye.
Thank you.